Hey guys, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast, where we are going to break down the NFL week number 4. And our Buffalo Bills are one of two 4-0 teams in the NFL, the only 4-0 team in the AFC. And they got away with one, ended up winning by 12 yesterday, 31-19, and it was a sloppy game. But let's break it down. I'm Mike with 716 Sports Entertainment, joined by Mr. T. Reese and Mr. Sean O'Neill. And fellas, how are we feeling being 4-0?
Go
The
Bills.
Bills definitely have a chokehold on the AFC at the moment. Um, and honestly, they control their own destiny. So let's see what they do with it.
Well, I think a lot of people got a little in an uproar over that game. From the way I look at it, the Bills are experimenting. They're treating these games like exhibition games. These are preseason games for other guys to try out for when these other guys come back. They need to know who they're going to need to take off the roster to replace them with. I think they're experimenting because it's a lot of the stuff they did yesterday was just like kind of stuff you would do in the preseason. I mean, you're rotating cornerbacks. I mean, you're barely giving anybody else any carries in the running game. You didn't even throw to the tight ends, which was weird
No,
because Portugal's really bad at covering tight ends with their old linebackers. So I was a little shocked by that. But I think there's a lot of experimenting. Plus, they're going into a divisional game this week. So there's no reason for you to show your hand against the Saints. I mean, they were playing with fire, obviously. Anytime in NFL, you can win it. You can lose any given Sunday. But I think the Bills are just playing with their food yesterday. I think it's just they're just trying to figure out what they're going to do with this roster in the next few weeks once those guys come back.
And the
well
one thing, the one thing, go ahead.
the Patriots fans are already starting to get uppity because they won their game. So it'll be interesting to see in a prime time what goes on with that one.
The one thing I will say to your point is, as close as the game got, I never thought they were going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
No,
I never thought in my head that they were going to lose this game. And even the interceptions aside and the dropped ball in the end zone from, was it Cooks, who, they had to like review that thing and that touchdown that wasn't a touchdown. But like in the fourth quarter when, when Josh put the cape on, ran for 30 yards and then threw a touchdown pass on the very next play. Like, I was just like, okay, and they were up by 9 at that point, and I'm like, yeah, it's over. Like, and but there were a lot of things that, there's a lot of things I want to talk about, right? Like, for one thing, the defense. And I heard the stat today that we were 5 for 12 on third down, which doesn't sound as bad as it actually looked, because it looked real bad. I think maybe it was because of the way they were converting those third downs. We certainly have a problem with running quarterbacks. Like, that's a thing. We absolutely have a problem with running quarterbacks. And, that's one of the things Mahomes does well. It's one of the things Lamar does well. Jalen Hurts does well, so like when we see those, and forget the Saints, we'll never see them again, for another 4 years. But, of the teams we will see in the postseason, they all have running quarterbacks. Justin Herbert can move. So that's a problem that they need to shore up. Third down defense is difficult. The pass defense seems like it's getting better every week, but the run defense seems to kind of suffer a lot, right? And the trick plays. The trick plays
yeah,
got to start. Like, you look like a genius when they work, but you look like an idiot when you run them on fourth down and you go backwards. So
that
that's my
that was
soapbox, but I wanted to have you guys discuss.
that was the only point of the game where I legitimately lost my temper with it. Was why are you running some stupid trick gadget play on fourth down when James Cook has been picking up yardage on every time he runs through the middle? Like, just run. I get T said they were experimenting, but just run Cook up the middle. Just do your basic thing and get the first, and then do your experimenting. I think yesterday did kind of expose Tre'Davious White. Out of all these games so far, he was definitely beat a couple times and had a couple penalties called on him. And that's the other big thing from this game yesterday. I don't know if it was a combination of sloppiness from the Bills or McMuscles, the ref, just had a hard on for throwing the flag.
Oh, that
But
ref and his gross arms, dude. That was nasty.
dude, his arms are so big from throwing the flag so many times. Like, That was we were tied, I think, first for like the least penalized team in the league, and then all of a sudden yesterday we have like 15 flags, like insane. But like I said, that could be part sloppiness and just part flag happy refs. But I absolutely despise when refs dictate the pace of the game.
Yeah, I didn't like so many of the flags. I mean, we're throwing off a lot of flags, but then again, you got to think about last minute scratch with Spencer Brown. You got Vandermark playing there on that tackle spot, which kind of messes up the cohesion of that offensive line because Vandermark's not in that lineup enough to really, play within or actually having time to gel with the offensive line, regardless of him being on how long he's been on this team. So the offensive line, I expected. Let's just say I didn't expect him to struggle, but it didn't surprise me because there's a little bit of a change in the lineup. The other issue, the third down stuff, has always been an issue. I agree with you 100% on that, but it's hard to gauge where this defense is until they get those guys on the lineup. You got Hoyt, you got Okunjobi, and you got Maxwell Harrison. We don't even know if he's going to come back this year, but we'll see what happens. But
And
you're getting those
Milano
guys
and
coming back.
Oliver. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
you got five guys out.
Yeah, you're getting them all back. So I'm not worried right now because we're teams that we're playing against. It's just that when we get after the bye, or is it before the bye, we play KC?
After
After it's like
It's after the bye, right?
week 9, I think we play KC.
Yeah,
I think
so that's where you're going to need all your troops because you got to win those games. And at any time, Kansas City can go on a run. The Chargers found, got a little chink in the armor yesterday. So who knows where they're going to, if they spiral out of this or not. We just know Herbert, to me, still hasn't proven that he's a franchise quarterback yet. So this will dictate, what type of quarterback it's going to be. If he can come back from a loss he had this week. And,
the injury bug hit that team pretty hard too. But we'll talk about that in a little bit.
The ending of that game too, we need to talk about because
we'll go around the league in a minute before we finish up with the Bills. But
I have a question.
Let me just finish my point. I think that we're worried too much about the defense right now. The third down stuff, I agree, because McD and them have not shown as of late they can do anything with that third down. The Trey White stuff, there's only so long you can cover somebody. At his age, there's just no way. You have no pass rush. You have no pass rush that's helping. You had no push up the middle in that game because a team that had a rookie guard and a second or third round pick of the other guys. I mean, they didn't even show any dominance. Every once in a while, you got the Deion Walker splash plays. I mean, people are giving TJ Sanders the credit for that last play with that sack from Epineza, but I mean, you're not getting any type of pass rush whatsoever. I mean, Bosa is out there; he's rushing, but the problem with Bosa is that he tends to over pursue a lot. And this is what he keeps getting bumped with. And don't forget now, when you have Ed in them in the middle of that lineup, you don't have the pockets that Rattler was able to run up through. They know how to contain that pocket, especially against running quarterbacks. I mean, we've never had an issue with running quarterbacks under McD. I mean, you had a few games with Lamar, but historically, he's very good against young quarterbacks and running quarterbacks because, generally most most of them aren't great passers. So, and McD knows that. So they invite the run. They want him to they invite the run, squeeze it down in the red zone, and hope that they can get a turnover with the pass. And that's what happened yesterday. It happens every week. I mean, the Bills get a turnover every week. They're only team in the league. What are they, like 13 or 14 straight games with a turnover? That defense. So they know what they're doing. It's just that, like I said, you got a lot of young pieces in that lineup right now that are still learning how to play. The only person I could say that I'm really disappointed is Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp I don't know what's going on with this guy. I mean, the guy can't tackle anybody if his life depended on it.
Not Rousseau.
Every time he went to go tackle somebody, he was catching air.
No, I was gonna say, what about your boy Rousseau? You've got a lot to say about him.
Him celebrating tackling running backs is starting to become tiring. How about you get a quarterback for once? I'm tired of this getting up and celebrating tackling running backs behind the line.
They all do
that. We need some pass rush.
I do have a question for you. Was it Vandermark's side of the line that kept collapsing on Josh? Because I noticed there were quite a few points during the game where it felt like the O-line was falling apart on him. Was it consistently Vandermark's side?
Yeah, that was that side of the line. This is why with you, Mike, I was questioning the play calling because you're running what was that stupid trick play they did? They ran it towards the freaking backup tackle side. Yeah. I'm like, why are you running behind him? There's
That
no
little
reason
flip
to
play.
call that play. Yeah, I mean, they probably did it just to throw some tape out there to say that they're willing to try trick plays. But I mean, you did it on the wrong side of your offensive line. You should have did that to your strongest side. And I don't know. Again, that's why I said they're experimenting, because any other game you wouldn't have. I mean, if it's Spencer Brown, obviously you can, but no other coach would have tried to do that, or at least keep attempting to run the ball behind that side.
Was
So
was there an injury report for today? Did
just
something
the
come out about the punter? Is he all
just
right?
the, just the punter. They're probably going to look at signing somebody else. Um, So Allen finishes the day 16 of 22, 72% completion percentage. Again, that's great. 209 passing yards, whatever, and then two passing and one rushing touchdown, and his first pick of the year as well, which that was weird. Like that I mean, it was basically an arm punt, but that was a broken play. It was a completely broken play. I mean, it looked like the ball might have been tipped too. I mean, I fault him for it because it was a bad throw, but in the end, it was an arm punt and it amounted to nothing. So I'm fine with it.
Well, I think it was just a toss-up pass to Coleman on that, but he had one-on-one with Palmer at the bottom of the screen, which I thought he would have went to because the safety shaded over towards Coleman on that play anyway. You had to,
Mhm.
if you rewatch the play, I think it was Palmer was playing on the left side. He was sprinting down. If you're going to do a toss-up, you want a one-on-one, not a two-on-one. So I do question why Josh. I think Josh just threw it up there just to see if Coleman can make a play on it. If it gets picked, it gets picked. Obviously, they're going to be, it's an arm punt, like you said, Mike. So no matter what, I don't think they would have lost out on anything on it. But I did think that was a bad move by Josh by trying to go to that side. He should have went to the left.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Um, so right now, Josh Allen is right now, he's still the clear-cut MVP favorite. I know we're only 4 games into the season, but I mean it's not close. And Lamar was right behind him, but Lamar's gonna take a huge hit after yesterday, you know. And with that, let's actually take a minute and go around the league and talk about all of the games. Let's start with the games at the 1 o'clock window, or actually, let's quickly talk about that Ireland game between the Steelers and the Vikings. Steelers win 24-21. Rodgers looked all right, but it was mostly the Vikings just not looking great, and they got close at the end there, but it never seemed like Pittsburgh was going to lose that game. And the Vikings kind of cost themselves at the end there, just kind of playing stupid and not knowing how like time management works. So, which seems to be like a thing going around the league here. And also blocked kicks too. That was something I wanted to ask you about, Reese. Like last year, I heard this stat on the radio this morning. Last year, throughout the entire season, there were 17 blocked kicks in the entire league all year. We are at 11 already through 4 weeks. Like, what's the deal with that? Like, what's your thinking behind that? Like, why we're seeing so many?
I think a lot has to do with the change in the kickoffs and the personnel you're using now for your special teams, because you have to change your personnel now. You can't go old school like they used to with, sizable guys in the middle, speed guys on the outside. You need bodies now. And I think more or less, if you watch Philly, the reason why Philly blocks so many punts is they put all their beef right there on the one side of the line and they just collapse it every single time. You got guys that like Deion Walker should be on our block team. He should be on the block special teams just because of his height. And that's what Philly does. And that's what people are doing. They're just overloading with their big boys on one side of the line because teams aren't using the same players anymore for special teams. You got a lot of little smaller guys out there now. You got linebackers out there now that are playing on special teams and on punt returns and stuff like that. You got more so. So I just think it's just a personnel thing. I think that once the league gets used to the new style of special teams, I think you'll see it probably go down. It'll probably, go back to retract a little bit once they figure out what type of body types they need for it. But I think a lot of it has to do with the changes in the personnel you're using for special teams now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the Steelers are 3-1 and currently sitting atop the AFC North. And with, I mean, I think Lamar's probably going to play next week, but the Ravens are 1-3. Cincinnati very likely is going to be 2-2 tonight, and the Browns are 1-3. So the Steelers are the clear cut right now for that division. And we'll get to Baltimore in a little bit, but I mean, Baltimore is decimated by injuries, and that's going to be a really hard road for them. And Cleveland is not good, and Cincinnati is without Burrow. So it certainly seems like that division right now is Pittsburgh's to lose.
It really is.
Yeah.
You, as long as they can keep Aaron Rodgers from turning into Aaron Rodgers over the next few weeks, um, they should have a clear cut hold on that division. Th- just there's no competition. I mean, a Burrow-less Cincinnati, Cleveland, that is the Cleveland Browns, and the sheer amount of injuries to Baltimore. Tomlin, this will be another year of Tomlin's job being safe.
What did I say before the season? We had the discussion
Never
about
count Pittsburgh out.
Never count out the Steelers, dude. I don't know what it is. It just always seems to fall in their laps every single year. They don't even have to do anything, and literally they can get into the playoffs.
Do
Now
you
look at it.
trust
Their division
Rodgers?
is completely collapsed, and they're the only team now on the top of that division. But I will say this: don't sleep on Cleveland right now. And I think Cleveland's going to make a QB change, and that defense is mean. So if they can get just even a managing quarterback in that lineup, Cleveland could make a run, make a run for its money in that division. They might be able to slip up in at least second place for the time being. So don't sleep on them right now. They just traded for an offensive lineman today. I think they traded for Cam Robinson.
Yeah, and Dylan Gabriel goes in there. I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's get to that one next. Actually, the Browns did keep it close for a little while with Detroit, but then Detroit obviously just pulled ahead and won 34-10 there. It was kind of never in doubt once Detroit got that defensive touchdown to go up 17-10, and it was all smooth sailing after that. And the Lions are the Lions. They did look great, and I think they found their swagger, and the Lions and the Eagles are the class of the NFC right now.
I said it during our preview show the other day. There is just such a large gap between the elite teams and the average teams, and then even between the average teams and the terrible teams. I mean, look at Detroit and their division. Look at them versus Cleveland yesterday. There was no doubt that Detroit was losing. Detroit is miles ahead of anybody close to them over there. And it's pretty much that way for any team that is considered elite in the league this year.
Well, but don't forget now that the Vikings are playing with a backup quarterback too. So right now,
Yeah.
So I don't know how much longer McCarthy's going to be out. They do seem to look like a different team when he's not out there. Apparently,
They're missing.
I don't know.
They're missing offensive line. They're missing guys on their defense. I mean, yeah, it's always next man up, but like the Vikings and the Vikings are right up there with the Ravens for injuries, and then the Chargers too. The Chargers lost us 2 starting offensive linemen. They're running back.
Yeah, so you probably, in my opinion, I wouldn't sleep on some of these guys. It's still early in the season. Once Minnesota gets their bodies back, they'll be competitive again. I don't know if they'll win the division over Detroit, but I expect them to at least be in second place and make the playoffs this year.
So let's talk about those Chargers. The Chargers blew it to the Giants 21-18, and obviously the biggest news coming out of that game, besides the Chargers losing, is Malik Neighbors tearing his ACL, and that sucks for the Giants. Jackson Dart getting his first win there, but that's really terrible for the Giants. Like, you really got to feel like that. That sucks. That sucks so bad.
Well, it's weird. I saw that catch, and I'm looking at when they showed it during the Bills game. It showed him jumping, and I'm like, that's an ACL. You can tell an ACL tear right off the muscle. As soon as they grip the knee and they're shooting in pain, it's an ACL right off the muscle. Because usually with the LCL, all the other ones, a lot of them can still play on them, but ACL is a whole different ball game. Once that tears, it's over. It's over. So you're lucky if he even. It's early enough in the season. He should be back by the start of next season because it's early enough now, just depending on when he gets his surgery. But it is a shame because I did like the kid.
He was one of the few bright spots.
Let's talk about the end of that game, though, because I gotta feel like the Chargers kind of blew it a little bit too. So the Chargers had the ball punted to them with about 30 seconds left, and your guy catching the ball, instead of just fair catching or, going straight forward, he decides to run to the right all the way across the field and takes like 12 seconds off the clock to gain like 3 yards. What the F are you doing? Like if I'm the coach, I'm eviscerating him, right? Because that's two plays, right? And then they get the ball and Herbert makes a throw. They go down the field a little bit, and then he throws the ball with like 9 seconds left. He throws the ball right in the middle of the field. They don't have enough time to get down, and the game ends, right? And it's like that whole sequence, you needed to gain like 25 yards to kick a field goal to tie it. And if that were the Bills, I think the Bills would have been able to do that. I blame personnel and coaching for that a little bit, because it's like, these guys, I don't know what it is about like some of these players, if they they think that they're all supermen, but it's like, dude, don't take it to the don't attempt to take it to the house when there's enough time for a couple of plays. Fair catch and give your quarterback as much time as you can to like make as many plays to get them. If it's a touchdown you need, it's one thing, because I want to get into the Eagles game in a second. If you need a touchdown and there's like 20 seconds left, yeah, take a shot at it, right? But if you need just a field goal and you can give your quarterback 3 or 4 throws, what are you doing?
Part of the problem with the end of that game is they that kick returner was their backup kick returner. So it wasn't even their starter. And I feel like if it's their normal returner, he probably does call for the fair catch there. But I place the blame for that on Justin Herbert for the passes. He knows how much time is left. He should know better than to be passing in the middle of the open field like that. That was just absolutely dumb on his part, and he should have known better.
Yeah, I can't argue that, but you also got to look at the fact of, I'm sorry about my camera again, but you got to understand they're not. That's a communication thing. So if the special teams coach didn't tell him, exactly what the game plan is at this point, and don't forget the rules have changed too. So once you get it into that strike zone, they have to return it. But you're right, he shouldn't have been trying to run around in circles and stuff, eating up the clock. So I think a lot had to do with the coach's communication to the player not paying attention. And again, a lot of the stuff you see in the NFL today is because they just don't practice like they used to back in the day. Their practices are like cutting like by 75%. They hardly ever practice. So you're always going to have these screw ups in games now, especially in the first half of the season, because every year it's like this.
Yeah. So the Chargers are 3-1 now, which they fall from the ranks of the undefeated. Let's go into, I think, the new villain of the NFL, and I think that's the Philadelphia Eagles, because their coach is an asshole, and Jalen Hurts is an asshole, and I don't understand the way they do anything at all. So they beat the Bucs 31-25. Should have been 31-23, but they don't have any sportsmen on that team at all. So given the fact that the Bucs, Baker Mayfield's going to be Baker Mayfield, and he's going to throw interceptions in the end zone at the end of the game when he's trying to come back. Like, I get it. The Eagles just have too much talent for the Bucs to overcome without Mike Evans and the other injuries that the Bucs have. Like, I get it. I get the Bucs losing there. Problem I have is, one, they don't throw the ball to A.J. Brown at all. B, every single week last year, Saquon Barkley is getting 100+ rushing yards. He had 38 yesterday. He had 40 the week before. Like, what are we doing not using our best players? That's kind of weird. Because my point is, like, yeah, they're winning, but they look very beatable. And I feel like once they play a decent team, they are going to lose, like, multiple times, I think. Because they've beaten up on a lot of scrubs. Tampa's probably the best team they've beaten so far. Yeah, they beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs weren't really that great at that point. The Chiefs obviously got some of their players back and looked better yesterday. But yeah, and then so the thing I wanted to get your take on, Reese, specifically you, because Sean and I talked about this yesterday because we watched it. At the end of the game, the Eagles had, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds left, and they were punting to the the Bucks, and the kicker gets the ball, runs backwards, runs all the time off the clock, and takes a safety, and the ball never gets punted. So they lose the 2 points, but the Bucks never get a chance with the ball. Is that shitty?
No. No, it's part of the rules. I mean, it's been done before. This has been done in NFL several times. We just haven't seen it all that often because there's so much offense going on in the league right now. But this is something that's been done since football started. A lot of teams do that. Just they'll give up the 2 points just so they can eat up the clock and then send you all the way back down the other end of the field. I mean, look at Philly. They weren't stopping, even with Baker not having all his weapons, they weren't stopping them in the second half. So their fear was that he was going to come back and win the game. So they did the easiest thing, is to just give the ball back to him, give him the 2 points, and let him eat, and they eat up the clock. It's been done before.
You're perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. I mean, Bucks, don't fall behind.
I mean, you don't think you're perfectly okay with like that kind of just being sort of like poor sportsmanship?
Nah. No, I mean, if you want to go, you can argue the tush push. I don't like it just because I do think it's an injury type play. But outside, I don't like tush push more so than what they did there. I mean, that's been done in NFL before several times. It's the easy way to get a team out of a game, to win a game. It's just been plenty. I mean, do you think it's sportsmanship if, like, you ever heard when a team is down, you're coming back? How many times do you say that you hear in a Bills game they should just let the Bills score here so they can get the ball back? That's poor sportsmanship. You're just going to give them a touchdown so you can get the ball. It's the same thing. It's the exact same play. You just handled where the points were going to go. So yeah, I got no problem with it. It's no different than that than just letting a team score a touchdown just so you can get the ball back. But I mean, Belichick was famous for it.
That's fair. I was curious what you thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. It's been there before. I've seen it done several times.
When are we going to admit to that Jalen Hurts isn't a superstar quarterback?
Now you're talking.
You're
talking.
I disagree with that. I still put him. I put him in the top 10.
He had what, 7 yards in the second half yesterday passing? Like, I'm sorry. Your quarterback can't be doing that. If you're allegedly an elite level quarterback, that's not your kind of numbers. Like, I'm sorry,
John. What's their record?
You're right.
Didn't need to, and then last year they won 14 games. No, I can't go that far. Yeah, dude.
I agree with you. I think, in my opinion, Jalen Hurts is completely overrated.
Overrated. I don't think he's a top tier quarterback. I think he is slightly above average at best.
But if you measure him against the current field in the NFL, he'd be in the top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's a lot of holes, and I think Philly knows there's a lot of holes. That's why they don't let him throw like most quarterbacks they have him do nowadays, is because they know he's not that type of guy. And that's why I've always had a thing against Alabama quarterbacks. They never pan out. They never turn into superstars. Rarely do they ever take over the NFL, because in Alabama, you're surrounded by top-notch players from top to bottom. Well, you're always playing with the all-star team. So you can't really gauge quarterbacks coming out of Alabama. And this is why they're quarterback. Look at Tua, another one.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Hurts went to, where did he go, to Oklahoma? I think it was. He had left Alabama, went to Oklahoma, I think, or something like that. But still, Alabama quarterbacks don't pan out because they never go after. Alabama never brings in the top-ranked quarterbacks into their programs. You notice that, right? It's always like some middle-tier guy, because they don't need a top-tier quarterback when they can just load up their offensive line, their defensive line, to get every best offensive player in the running back position and wide receiver position. That's what they do. That's what they do all the time.
And can I guess also, can I ask too, because I want to get into the next game in a minute, but why is AJ Brown a drama queen? Dude just posted something on Twitter about not being welcomed in the locker room. Like, bro, come on. You won the Super Bowl. You won the Super Bowl last year and you're 4-0. Like, bro, stop.
I get it. I know what you're saying, but it's better for him to say that than say his quarterback doesn't throw him the ball.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised it took him this long to say something.
Yeah, I know he said something last week. I think he tweeted something last week too. Because I got AJ Brown, and I have not gotten any points out of him yet this year.
Nope.
Like the most I've gotten out of him was this week, like 2.8 points.
So
he had a touchdown, I think, last week.
Speaking of quarterbacks, or speaking of players completely throwing their team under the bus, the Houston Texans beat the Tennessee Titans 26-0, and rookie quarterback Cam Ward says, and I quote, if we keep it, I can't even say this. If we keep it in a buck right now, we ass.
Yes.
End quote.
Yeah. Wait, what? We're ass. He's right though.
Literally said that the team is ass.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I mean, you didn't put up any points against a team that can barely score any touchdowns. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, how long was that?
Tennessee, yeah.
That game was 6-0 for like almost 3 quarters?
Until the fourth quarter, almost. Yeah. I mean, looking at going through the first 4 games now, Tennessee is the worst team in the league.
I don't know. Carolina's up there.
Carolina beat Atlanta 30-0, and you wouldn't say Atlanta's the worst team in the league.
No, but I still think Carolina's up there.
Atlanta just beat the Falcons just beat the Commanders 34-27. I mean, the Giants just beat the Chargers, right? I mean, the Texans aren't great, but they obviously just beat them. I mean,
and then they fired Callahan today, didn't they?
I don't know. But I mean,
I believe they fired Callahan.
You can't really say the Jets are the worst team in the league. Maybe the Dolphins, but
yeah.
I think Tennessee is probably the worst team in the league.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you try to say the Jets or anybody, at least they have something to hold on to with their defense. You talk about Miami, you can talk about their offense. Tennessee, I don't know what you talk about. I mean, what over there is even worth holding? There's no sign of life in that organization. They drafted Cam Ward with nothing. They have nothing.
I mean, Tennessee is clearly in a rebuild state, so it's almost to be expected that they're going to suck for the most part. I don't think Cam Ward will be making any friends saying that kind of stuff in the locker room.
Actually, to be honest with you, when you say things like that, it kind of wakes up people.
That could go either way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just I found it to be interesting, I guess, but quickly glossing over a couple of games that really don't matter. The Falcons beat the Commanders 34-27. The Jaguars upset the 49ers 26-21. The Bears beat the Raiders 25-24. And then our opponent next week, the Patriots, smoked the Carolina Panthers 42-13. A lot of turnovers in that game. They had touchdowns. They were throwing the ball all over the field. How are we feeling about the Patriots?
Carolina out yarded them. I think the Patriots and their fans are celebrating them beating somebody that they should have beat a little bit too excessively. And I think the Bills will be just fine against them.
I think the Bills are going to blow them out next week.
Yeah?
I think it's going to be a blowout game.
I'm kind of with you on that.
I
think the Bills are going to I think the Bills are going to punch their little brother in the face a little bit and just kind of beat them down too. I'm very much big brother, little brother next week a little bit.
I mean, the Bills, they need a game where they completely dominate somebody, and I think that's why you had that game last week. They weren't trying to show too much to the Patriots the week before, and they were moving some pieces around to see what they have. I think this week they go full bowl because they know it's a division game, so they have to go in there. That's an NFC team. You can care less about that game.
Yeah,
they're going against the Patriots with your division and your conference. They're gonna go. It's gonna be full on throttle.
Yeah,
no brakes, all gas.
The Rams ended the Colts undefeated streak, 27-20. I mean, I think the Colts are fine. I think the Colts are going to win that division probably easily, going away with it. They're clearly the best team in that AFC South. And the Rams, I think the Rams are going to win the NFC West. I think they're the best team out there, especially watching the 49ers crap the bed. And they might run it against Seattle. But I think both of those teams make the playoffs.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Seattle's got a mean defense. The Rams, when they get rolling, have a pretty steady offense. It was nice to see, even though Indy lost their undefeated, for the most part, they were in that game. If it didn't come down to comeback player of the year, throwing an interception to end the game, trying to beat the hero,
Yeah.
they were still in it.
No,
So
I mean,
then,
once defenses get hip to what they're doing with Danny Jones, I don't. I mean, I think they'll be around just because of their crappy division, but I don't find them as being a threat at all.
No,
so before we get to the game that, we care about here, quickly, the night game last night ended in a tie, 40-40, Packers and Cowboys. That was nuts because the first quarter was like whatever, but then like just there was an explosion of offense in the second half of that game. Dak Prescott, I mean, dude got me 40 fantasy points, so I'll take it. But that was something else. That was a great. It was just.
Can we say that? Can we say Green Bay's defense may not be all that good as people have been advertised? Last 2 weeks haven't been looking too good.
Nope.
Even with Parsons out there, have not been looking too good.
Dude, Parsons is one injury away from being done for his career. Dude's back is
he's already requiring shots and everything before he even comes out and plays. His back is so bad. I'll be shocked if he makes it halfway through the season.
He's gonna be in a wheelchair in like 10 years. And I hate to say that, but like I don't know how he's gonna be able to stand. Like getting cortisone shots in his back every week. Like that's not good. That is not good for you at all.
No.
And I'm pretty sure I said it during our preview show yesterday. I think Green Bay is a pretender. I don't think that they are legit like Detroit is.
Yeah, I've never been impressed with Jordan Love. I think he's okay. I don't think he's like.
I don't think he's top 10.
No, I wouldn't put him in the top 10. I mean, he could probably be close to the bottom of the 10, but I've never been impressed with Jordan Love. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I mean, don't forget now they're down a receiver too, so I give you credit on that. But that defense is supposed to be like lights out. And these last two games, you got a loss because your defense couldn't stop nobody last week, and this week again, you let a team come back and beat and tie the game up. So I mean, they had it pretty handed. It seemed like in the first half. I'm like, okay, well, Green Bay's probably not going to walk away with this one, and then the defense just fell apart. They just couldn't stop. They could not stop Dallas, which is weird considering that everybody Dallas's offense and they have nobody out. And then they let them score 40 points.
Dallas, right?
And CD Lamb was out, right?
Yeah, that's my point. They had nobody on offense.
Yeah.
Other than Ferguson.
And Pickens.
So let's talk about it then. The most anticipated game of the week, which was the Chiefs and the Ravens, and Chiefs blew them off the field, and Mahomes is now 6-1 against Lamar. Lamar took a hamstring injury. It seems like he's going to be fine. He'll probably play next week, and I would imagine like it's they'll be whoever. I mean, they got a lot of injuries, but who are they playing next week? Oh, the Texans. Yeah, they'll kill the Texans.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, and this might be a hot take. I don't think Lamar was hurt.
Neither do I. There's a lot of talk today that Lamar quit on the team.
That's what I think. I think he had enough, and I think the coach was like, you know what, we ain't got it today with Hammy, and we're just gonna put the backup out here. Cooper Rush or whatever the hell it was that went in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you think Lamar quit on the team?
Yeah, he didn't get hurt in that play. He didn't even do anything to have a hamstring injury on that play.
No.
He was just sliding out to the side of the pocket to try to get outside to throw the ball, and he just got tackled. There was nothing in his hamstring that was hurt. He walked off the field without a limp. Nothing was wrong with him. I think he threw a fit. Coaches said, okay, well, you know what? We ain't got it today. We'll have him have a seat. We'll try again next week. Put the backup in.
So let's before we get into the Chiefs, let's talk about the Ravens and Lamar. So this conversation about Lamar being the MVP this year is over, right? Like, I mean, dude's clearly immature, right? There's multiple instances where he was throwing his helmet yesterday, and he can't get it done when it matters, right? Like they went up against three of the big boys of the league this year, and they lost all three of them, right? I mean, they lost to the Bills. Say what you want about that game, they still lost. They got mollywopped by the Lions, and they got mollywopped yesterday by the Chiefs. So they went up against the three big boys of the league, and they got their asses handed to them. So he's not the MVP this year. Like, you can't be. You cannot be the MVP this year if you lose to all of the teams that are ahead of you.
So
Yeah.
last year, keep in mind that there was a point where there wasn't talk about anybody besides Allen being the MVP. And then at the end of the year, Lamar stormed back into the conversation. I personally,
Because he put up 70 points against the Giants in one game.
right. I personally think that Lamar should at most have one MVP, a single one. He shouldn't have two. That second MVP that he won, he had his stats weren't even like top 10 that year. And it just, I've never thought Lamar was anything more than a slightly better Cam Newton. I don't think his passing ability is on par with like Mahomes or Allen. And I think you'll notice last year, it took them getting Derrick Henry for Lamar to be able to actually play like a real quarterback.
Well, you could say the same thing about James Cook for Josh Allen, though. That's a huge
No,
crowd.
Allen's always put up great numbers.
No, Allen's been great, but Allen has had a lot of help too, to help him be better. It Diggs for a few years as great. And now, dude, Cook is imagine what this offense would be like without James Cook. It'd be radically different. James Cook is playing great.
I think,
I don't know if Josh has had as many weapons as
yeah.
Lamar has.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, but Allen has had help. Not the level of help that the Ravens or even, have had in other teams too. But
every quarterback needs help. I mean, there's no quarterback that's ever won a Super Bowl without anybody in their roster, and that's been the issue with Josh, right?
I'm just not impressed with Lamar. To Sean's point, like,
no, I agree. I agree.
I'm really not. I think he's just a better version of Cam Newton, and I think that he is a stat padder. Like, I think that team pads their stats hard against bad teams to make them look a lot better than I think they actually are. Yeah, they got a ton of injuries right now, and had they did not had all of those injuries, that might have been a different story yesterday. But I also think that good quarterbacks and good coaches, they got his number. Spagnuolo had his number yesterday.
Well, I would say he's more comparable. I would say he's more comparable to Michael Vick. Michael Vick could throw the ball. I mean, it's not like I just don't think that Lamar is the cerebral quarterback that you see with Josh and Mahomes.
Yeah.
Not somebody who's going to go up to the lineup, start, orchestrating all kinds of patterns and hot reads all over the place. He's going to go in there with a set bar, and he runs the same type of RPOs. That's what he does. And I think that's what holds back that organization is that he's not one-dimensional in terms of the ability of a quarterback where he can run, he can throw, and all that stuff. I think he's one-dimensional in terms of being a pocket passer, which is what Baltimore needs. He can't sit in the pocket and dice up a defense. When the running game isn't going, Lamar isn't going. So that's where their problem is. Like yesterday, they jumped off of the Henry. I didn't understand why they stopped running with Derrick Henry. They completely stopped. As soon as they fell behind, it was like, oh, we can't run no more, and just started trying to and that's where you lose. We have Lamar having to throw the ball over the field. And that's what happened.
Yeah. I think the other problem that Baltimore has is Jim Harbaugh. There's times where it feels like Harbaugh is still trying to coach Baltimore like they're the smash mouth defense of old instead of what they've turned into with having Lamar and Henry. And I don't know if this is a case of them needing to move on from Harbaugh just for a change of pace, but it feels like that might be part of it. And then with it looking like Lamar quit on the team yesterday, that's not a good look going forward in the season either. Like if this team is gonna continue to face adversity like a 1-3 team now that they are, you can't have a quarterback who's going to quit on you at every site of adversity. Like, I'm sorry, like that's a bad look.
Yeah, I agree with that. So let's go to the other side of the ball. Are the Chiefs back?
No.
Are we worried about the Chiefs now? Are the Chiefs gonna win that division now? Probably easily.
I mean, we're basing off a Baltimore team that had nobody out there.
Yeah.
I mean, their defense has nobody on it. Their entire defense is all on the IR. Almost the whole defense. So no, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say. I think they need. I think they need. We need to see what they do. I mean, they lost to the Chargers for good to say. So I don't know. I wouldn't say they're back, but again, they're another team I wouldn't count out. But I wouldn't say that I'd be scared of them right now. I mean, they played against a bad Baltimore defense. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You had nobody out there. No pass rush, no corners, nothing. I mean, they made Worthy look like he was Jamar Chase yesterday.
The Chargers still have a firm grip on the wheel in that division, with having beaten Kansas City. I think Kansas City still has an issue with their defense still isn't looking super great. And the fact that Travis Kelce is still out there with an attitude problem, I think he causes more problems now on that team than he brings positivity wise. And I mean, we'll see what happens when Rashee Rice comes back, but I don't know, just something about the Chiefs still feels off.
All right. Well, we got the Bengals and the Broncos in about an hour, and we got the Comedy Central Bowl going on now. It is currently 3-0 Miami. Hopefully I get Comedy Central so I can go and watch that game. But with that, you guys got any final thoughts? Anything you want to say leading into week 4? Oh, and I wanted to mention that we are all officially on our second bullet here for Survivor because we couldn't even make it 4 weeks because we all are that bad at picking football games. But, if you followed our betting advice, you're doing well because our betting advice has been perfect.
Yep.
So there's that. Just don't follow our Survivor picks. So any final thoughts, guys?
Go Bills, man. This is another one we're on to New England. Let's go in here and knock this one out, get to 5-0, sit comfortably above the AFC and just ride the wave, man.
I like it.
Another primetime home game for the Bills this week, and they control their own destiny. I mean, it feels like this year with this schedule, it is built for this final year at the Ralph to still keep going. Go Bills.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, that is our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Have yourselves a fantastic evening. Smash that like and subscribe button and take care.